Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Wolves Fancast YouTube channel with a bonus tactical analysis episode, if you will, with me, Gully. I did think I'd be signing off for the summer, but there's so much going on that I thought, why not bring some more content to the people? And I actually wanted to step away from kind of all the rumours and the conjecture that is going on around the club at the moment, because everything's a little bit of a mess. So I thought, why not take a trip down memory lane? And it's been about 3 years, I'd say, since Wolves have been anything resembling what you'd call a good, Premier League outfit. In spells under Bruno Lage, we were looking like reaching those levels again, but when I say good, I mean, scoring an acceptable amount of goals. And I thought, why wouldn't it be interesting to kind of see from a data perspective how stark it is, our underperformance from that regard. And I went back 3 years worth of data. Sad, I know, but also interesting and quite insightful. And really kind of sets up how desensitized I would say we are to genuinely interesting and good attacking numbers and play, really. So just to kind of set the scene, I've had a look at the numbers for seasons going back to 2021, 21-22 and 22-23. So that covers a year under Nuno, Bruno Lage, and then the mess that we've had in 22-23 with Lage, Davis, and also Ewan Lopetegui. That covers 127 games in all competitions. So thinking of the quarterfinal run we had in the Carabao Cup, kind of, and the odd cup competition game here and there otherwise, and we've actually scored 121 goals in that time. That's 0.95 goals per game, as you can see there, and 36 individuals have either scored or assisted in kind of contributing to that total. And that is out of a total of 51 players used in that time. So obviously 15 who haven't either scored or assisted in any way, which leaves us with a contribution per player of 2.37. Now, that's, it's not necessarily a metric that runs across the football world, but I just thought it's interesting to see how that has been spread across the team, because the accusation with that, when there's high numbers of of goal scoring, sometimes you can get it spread across the team without any individual standing out, but it's been pretty shoddy across the board. So we'll look at the kind of simplistic kind of stuff really first. So looking at goals, assists, and then a combined total. And Daniel Pedence stands out as the individual that has performed to the best, or at least the most productive player that we've had over those 3 seasons with 21. Ruben Neves there as well, the likes of Jimenez, despite kind of in that time obviously missing a lot of football and then not ever reaching the levels that we knew we could achieve before the pandemic and his injury, still contributing 18 in that time. And a few other names in there that might surprise people. Obviously Fabio Silva's featured, Reinhard Nuri, probably more productive than people might think, in the context of the Wolves squad at least, and Leander Dendoncker as well. So just kind of pulling those numbers apart and looking at the goal scoring by itself. Own goals coming in at 5th in that list as well. Adama Traore featuring there, and Romain Saiss, Connor Cody even. And then from an assist perspective, Chiquinho, with all the limited time he's had on the pitch, has actually managed to worm his way into the top 11, I think I've got there, 10 or 11, which speaks for itself in terms of how little productivity we've had. And I think this is the real kind of crux of the issue, not being able to put our strikers in enough goal-scoring positions, and then the low number of assists across the board. Bearing in mind, again, that figure of 127 games played, and the best we could muster up from an individual in terms of creating goals was 7. Now, individual performance is obviously contextualized and requires a little bit more nuance. So I had a look at the kind of minutes played as well, and broke that down into the number of 90s you would get across those minutes. And again, Pedent's showing up best in terms of productivity, under 1 goal or assist every 3 games, well, just under every 3 games. And if you extrapolate that per 90, that's 0.35 per 90. So I've ordered this list. These are the best contributors per 90. I've stripped out a few people. Like Owen Otasawi actually came out top, I think, on this because he assisted Pedent once over 180 minutes. So, taking out the anomalies in that regard. But again, some interesting names have popped up here. Gonzalo Guedes, featuring quite highly despite the real bad terms that he left the club on. Well, he's still a part of the club, obviously, but left the club in January to go out on loan. Actually, only played just over 10 games for the club. Vitinha, 2 goal contributions, I think it was. One screamer against Chorley and an assist for Pedro Neto in the win against Chelsea during the pandemic, if we remember that. Only played from a 90 minutes perspective, just under 8 games. Even Morgan Gibbs-White in the whole time that he was playing for the club, when you'd expect him to be breaking into the team, obviously spent a lot of time out on loan, but also, while he was available to us, we only utilised him for 8.5 games. So is there a question here of players being underused? I think Hwang comes up really well here. You're looking at 12 goal contributions, I think, in total, and he's produced that in 37 games. So if you look at that, as a Premier League season, 12 goal contributions, I think you'd be really happy with that if he was to come up at the end of the season with those kind of numbers, and he'd be way ahead of anybody in our current squad, over the course of the season in terms of our most productive player. So maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel in terms of having a player who could do a little bit more. His injury record doesn't necessarily stack up, but when he does play, he is productive. But I just thought I'd share some bare numbers with you. I'll share the link as well to the raw data that I've pulled out of FBref as well, so you can kind of investigate that at your leisure. But just goes to show that it's been a very long time since we've seen anything like a functioning attack at Wolverhampton Wanderers, and hopefully this mess of a pre-season ends up with something like a semblance of an interesting side, and it's all about to change with Julian Lopetegui at the helm.